Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Into the Breach. We're playing the Steel Judoka, and we just picked up a reactor core, or a time pod, with Archimedes in it. So that's cool, I guess. I'm not going to use his ability, but eventually, someday, probably, hopefully. And we upgraded our enemies do damage to each other. I suppose I could upgrade this instead, but it's really not that good, I think. Yep, let's get going. Sub-zero range. So I really hate these robot factories, and they take, like, I can't even choose to give up the objective because by destroying them to simplify the mission, because they that would cause grid damage. So all in all, like, just real awful stuff. I don't know where I want the artillery. I'm actually, here might be okay. Just giving him the B file instead of a rank to work on. Okay. And this science mech, I'm still not really sure how to place him yet, in general. But I guess since we have no enemies who... I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's just go somewhere nice and cozy on land, and, well, if he's here, then 4 moves gets him sort of into the thick of things, gets him all the way onto the first rank, where he can maybe start pulling enemies sideways. That seems pretty useful, actually. Gives him more directions he can pull in, perhaps. Yeah, there's the Alpha Hornet. What a jerk. Ugh, there's so much garbage on this screen. Now the good news is, well, no, this is not good news. I was thinking we could push the Alpha Hornet to D6, and then he gets shot by this guy for 3 damage. But that still lets him make this attack. So... what exactly do we do? I guess an interesting option might be to judo him all the way to D6 and then try to pull this scorpion closer to him to deal a bunch of damage. That also has the nice effect that my judo mech would be standing on C6 to block the attack from this firefly, letting me not worry about him for a turn. I still have to work out the details of how to do all of those things, but, you know, it's a thing. So, I guess the first part of the question is how to free my judo mech. So I need a way to push the scorpion, or move, whether push or pull, the scorpion up to D5 for this plan. And the only way for my artillery to do it would be bombing E3, which at first glance does not seem great, because it would push this firefly into the building. If we could somehow move the firefly first, then we could do that. For example, by pulling him into the water here. Something like this. It all seems very compelling. Well, actually, no, it doesn't, because then we're standing in the place we need our judo mech to be. But also because, in all of those things, I didn't mention anyone rescuing the judo mech. So, we need someone to rescue the judo mech, and the only way I see that happening is, well, there's 2 ways, I guess. An artillery fire here on the judo mech himself would do it, but then we can't pull the scorpion up anymore. An artillery attack on the scorpion itself on E4 would do it. Push my judo mech out of enemy fire and let him start moving himself. Then I'd have the science mech available to do something with. No, I wouldn't, because I'm having him pull. So... another thing I could do is use my science mech to come up here and pull my judo mech out of the scorpion's way. Then I have my artillery mech free to do whatever I need to, right? These two together are taking care of the Alpha Scorpion. And rescuing the judo mech. So... I think the most productive thing I could do with my siege mech in that time is to bomb D2, pushing the Firefly into the water. And also sort of getting him up in the face of these Vec who are going to spawn soon. Now, we haven't dealt with the laser bot. There's a big problem. I mean, it's not a big problem, but it is a problem. And this guy's still alive as well. We're only killing 2 of the 4 monsters on screen this turn and not really doing anything to the others. But I think I just have to hope that that's good enough. I don't see any way to do better. Hang on. If I do this, if I use my science mech to free the judo mech, then my science mech is in the attack path of this Alpha Hornet, and he takes 2 damage. This is not necessarily the end of the world, but it's not great. I think I have to just accept it. And, like, the science mech doesn't tend to take a lot of damage, because it's not like he can pull things into him. He has no real reason to take enemy fire, so I think I just have to hope that that's alright. Given that I'm doing that, I'd prefer to be on E7 than E8, so just so you don't like to be near the edge of the map if you can help it. It takes away your movement options. So here we go, we do this. Judo chop this guy like we said. Wait a minute, am I doing this wrong? I'm doing a completely different plan than what I said I was gonna do. Jesus fucking Christ. I think I need to, like, incorporate a double checking step when I'm, like, about to enact some actions. Because, like, if you're thinking and planning and talking, and then you try to put acting in there as well, it gets a bit tricky. Yeah, the other plan is way better because my science mech doesn't even get hurt. I was just thinking of moving him up here. Wait, does he? Was this my plan? I don't even understand what my plan was. I didn't have one, did I? Because my plan involved having this guy free to do this, which is great. But it doesn't involve pushing this guy up like I said I was going to do. So it doesn't kill the Scorpion at all. Or the Hornet. Okay, I need to, like... This whole turn is ridiculous. What have I done? Okay, so what I was planning to do was Siege Mech against E4. And then move my Science Mech up there. To pull the Scorpion, not to pull my guy. Okay, and so that works, but it doesn't even kill the Firefly. All we're doing is killing the Alpha Hornet and nothing else. It's a very poor kind of turn, but I don't see what else I'm supposed to do. So what if I instead choose to live with the mistake that I have made and judo this guy anyway? Then he will take only 1 damage and be here. What could I do then? Just double checking. This does hit cities, right? Yeah, okay. Well, if he were here... I mean, I can solve a lot of problems by doing this. Artillery E3 causing 1 grid damage, but pushing the Scorpion towards the Alpha Hornet. And doing quite a bit of damage to the Firefly in the process. But I think I'm going to just reset and do what I planned to do in the first place. I find I have a lot of trouble with the Steel Judoka. Like, I think I mentioned they were the second squad I ever played with after the Riftwalkers. I unlocked these guys. And they felt a lot more difficult to me. Like, maybe I'm just not... Obviously, I was less experienced at the time. But, doing damage... You know, I wasn't accustomed to working this hard to keep enemies exactly attacking each other. Like, and I'm still not, really. Like, I do most of my damage by attacking enemies myself in all the other games. So maybe I'm just, like, not very good at this. I don't know. This at least prevents all grid damage and kills an alpha, so, like, it can't be the worst play ever. Oh, yeah. If I could get down to, like, E2 or something, if there were no enemy in the way, then I could pull the alpha down into the regular Scorpion, killing them and not taking a bunch of grid. God! I needed to move the science mech first. I did not realize this fact. Well, okay. In that case, I can't even pull this guy into the water because I'm in the water myself. This playthrough is not starting off well. Okay, I can kill this robot, I guess. There you go. Oh, let's try to salvage this mission. It's really bad when you've used up your reset and also taken a really shitty turn 1. Like, you're in rough shape if that happens to you. But good news, guys! There's going to be a lot of enemies on the screen, which is perfect for the Steel Judoka. They love it when enemies are all over the place. Ugh. Alright, what can I do here? Artillery here is pretty good because it kills the bot and pushes the Hornet out of the way. But there are still 3 things attacking cities that I haven't dealt with in that case. Buildings, not cities. Yeah, I guess the main problem is there are 4 things attacking buildings, and I don't see yet any way to deal with 2 of them at once. Well, yeah, because... So an artillery to D2 is also promising. No, it's not, because the Scorpion on E2 isn't attacking. I was thinking he was attacking and I could like push him over here and have him kill the Firefly on F3. But no. I could let the Alpha Hornet destroy the robot thing, because I hate that robot factory. Then I could deal with the other 3 attackers. But like, I just don't... Ugh. Okay, so what if I could get the Firefly from F3 to F2 and also get this Scorpion out of his way? Then he would kill the Scorpion on C2, rescuing the building on C3. The problem is, whatever I do to get the Scorpion out of the way is using up an attack, an action, which I could use instead to deal with, to just deal with C2 directly. So it doesn't help address the fact that there are 4 attackers and only 3 defenders. Man, I feel like ready to concede. I feel ready to be like, well, I lost this run. There goes the win streak. This is just awful. Clearly, I'm not going to do that, but it feels pretty bad. We could... We could pull this Scorpion into the path of the Firefly onto C3. And use the Judo mech to push, to throw C2 onto E2. This would deal 1 damage to him and set the forest on fire so that next turn, at the end of this turn, he would take 1 more damage, and at the end of the next turn, he would die. So that effectively kills this guy. It also kills the Scorpion here, because he gets shot by a Firefly, which does 3 damage. Then we use our last action to artillery the Alpha Hornet and the bot, like so, on F7. We still take a grid damage from the Scorpion on G3. But we deal with a large number of threats, and hopefully can then deal, like, save the objectives? Because a perfect would be real nice. Yeah, I feel like that's what I have to do. Here. I really wish I had not messed up with my science mech on the first turn. I could have killed this Alpha Hornet instead of the bot. And the bot is actually, like, perhaps useful, because his laser ability is, like... I don't know, it seems like you could maybe throw enemies into it. Although I haven't tried it yet, and so maybe it's not all that great in practice. Alright. Well, here's hoping. 1 grid damage. May it be our last. Yeah, and we didn't resist, of course. You know, you can't really get too upset about that. Yeah, unsurprisingly, a bunch more enemies have appeared. I don't see how to get the Alpha Hornet off of the robot factory at all. Well, that's not entirely true. If I were willing to give up on, like, everything else, I could probably do it, right? Say, I hate that I have to spend an action on this Scorpion who's, like, dead and just doesn't know it yet. But I could pull the Scorpion to E3, freeing my Judo mech. Oh, but then there'd be enemies here in the way, and he couldn't get up here. I was thinking Judo Mech to E6. Or something like that. Like, I can easily enough just soak up the damage on my Judo Mech if that's what I want to do. Deal 1 damage to this Firefly or something. And it's also easy to prevent damage on these 2 buildings down in the south half of the map, right? You know, something like this, and I don't know, this would do it. But then the Alpha Scorpion is doing 2 grid damage and ruining an objective. I could pull the Alpha Scorpion, Alpha Hornet, to E6, which seems promising. It doesn't do any damage to him, but it gets him out of harm's way and kills the bot, so that's something. Then I'm still taking grid damage from one of these guys, though, sadly. I don't see a way around that. Again, they're attacking... Well, this time they're only attacking 3 spots I care about, but one mech can't move, and I need to spend a mech to free him, and if I do, then I have 2 mechs left to deal with the 3 attacks. Something that might be worth considering, I suppose, is to... Yeah, I guess the obvious thing was to do this, Artillery the City, dealing damage to the Hornet. But I think there's a better approach, which is once we've pulled the Alpha Hornet back, that frees up the space D6 for the Artillery mech to stand on. And then I can Artillery D2, killing the Firefly and freeing up my Judo mech to deal with the Hornet instead. So we get the same... We get... Instead of, like, saving the city, dealing 1 damage to the Hornet and 1 to the Firefly, we get to save the city, deal 1 to the Hornet, and kill the Firefly, which is clearly better. We take 1 more grid damage on this dang building, which, like, ugh. But I think that's, again, the best I can do. I just don't like this squad at all so far, even on my second go-round. I hear they're good, but I don't get it. They have, you know, their gimmick, I have a hard time making it activate. Maybe it's just me. Let's grab this guy, I guess. Would things really be that much better if I'd managed to kill the Alpha Hornet on turn 1 instead of the bot? I'm not sure. Maybe. I'd have the same number of threats to deal with. Alright, at least this turn there's no crises happening. Wait, and where did the bot that got spawned go? Was there a bot that got spawned? Seems like there should have been, but I don't see him. Weird. Well, pulling the Alpha Hornet seems like the obvious approach. We can't reach him with a Judo mech, and we can't use the artillery to push him anywhere where he won't do damage, so a pull is the only answer there. We can use artillery to push this Scorpion into the water, and then my Judo mech is free to either deal with the Scion or the Hornet. I think I'd prefer to deal with the Hornet, just because there's... Oh, it's the last turn. That's why it didn't spawn anything. Okay. So I just have to not die, and I want to get as many kills as I can in the meantime. That's easy enough. Whoa, but don't stand here if you're pulling the Scorpion southeast, or the Hornet southeast, huh? Yeah, well, so it seems like we're clearly doing this, and then the question is, what do I do with this guy? But I don't want to commit to doing this because it takes away moves that we have. I guess since I can no longer conveniently kill the Scorpion by throwing him into the water, what I should do is move here and kill the Scion by banging it into the mountain. And then my Judo mech has to kill this Scorpion. Okay. So 2 grid damage this combat, a really nasty one. But we did get the objectives at least. Maybe I could have saved one of the grid damage by not being an idiot. I don't know. I had 2 chances to not be an idiot actually, and I didn't take either of them. +1 mech move, great news. Alright, we freed up these. We get to choose 1 objective. Freeze and defend both robots, I usually have an easy enough time with. Block Vex spawning 3 times, not always so easy. I do like Ice Storms, of course. I don't know, I guess we have a lot of mobility this turn, with this squad, right? So, in principle, we should be able to deal with this. But freeze and defend both robots is just like so easy most of the time. I don't know, I guess we have trouble pushing robots without dealing damage to them, and so the first turn, where you have to deal with both robots and can only freeze one of them, could be an issue. You have to use the Science Mech to do it in that case. Yeah, maybe let's just go with this, try to get the 3 spawn blocks. This is our last one before the end, right? Yeah. Hope that we can use the Ice Storm to our advantage sufficiently well. 3 Scorpions, one of them Alpha. Well, let's put the Artillery Mech in the back. Science Mech in the front, Judo Mech here. Let's put a Science Mech like over here to make it a little... Oh, these only have 3 moves. They can't get to any buildings this turn. That's an interesting thought. The enemy literally cannot attack any buildings on this turn. And if I wanted to, I could do a deployment maybe like this, where the enemies can't get to us this turn either. They only have 3 moves. Even the Alpha only has 3 moves. And so I wouldn't have to worry about being webbed. I think this is actually a good idea. Don't deploy close to them. They're going to charge us. And if we can prevent them from webbing us, then great. That's an achievement. Oh, they're just not going to charge us? They're just going to pile into the Ice Storm for some reason? That's fine, I guess. I wish I could judo this guy to here. I get... Yeah, I can't really, can I? They're all not attacking, and they didn't even choose to move close to cities. Or not very close. Well, one shot here is sort of interesting. It damages the Scion and the Alpha Scorpion. And these guys are very heavily damaged in case they ever get unfrozen. They're less of a threat. Is there some way to take advantage of being frozen? I don't see anything obvious. I, 'cause, 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 ' I could, no, it's such a bad idea. I was thinking of something silly like pull the Scorpion to C4 and then judo him into the Ice Storm. Then I'm in the Ice Storm, which is not great. But might actually be okay if I could consider catching myself in some collateral damage next turn. If I could block any spawns, I would, but this might actually be a good idea. Take the Alpha Scorpion completely out of commission. And the only downside is that I have to spend another turn on my mech next turn, when there'll just be 2 enemies around, right? I kind of like this. On the other hand, I could just kill this guy, preventing all these heals from happening. That might be better, because he's going to be a problem for a long time. Yeah, I think it's just a little bit too cute to try to do that. So, given that, what am I doing with my science mech? I don't know, get in the way of the Alpha Scorpion, so it's hard for him to actually block this city off, this building? No, end here, so that if I want to, I can... No, this won't have a spawner. But this puts me in range of a few more spawners if I choose to block next turn. It encourages this Alpha Scorpion to go here, which is not great. But more likely, I think he'll just attack my mech, and then, like, I'm okay with that, I guess. Alright. And step back so we have better access to the 8th rank next turn. I could pull this guy, but I don't actually see any reason to. I'd rather he stay where he is. Yeah, block faction spawning, I know. So, here's a questionable thought. What if I just let the science mech sit here and take it? He would only take 1 damage because the Scorpion's getting frozen, and the Hornet will hit him. Not a huge deal. Meanwhile, though, I can do something like this. Artillery the frozen guy at F3, pushing the Firefly back to F1, move my Judo mech to block a spawn on E1 and a second spawn by throwing the Scorpion to D1. Now, there's a downside to this, which is that the Scorpion would then free up this frozen Scorpion. But that's why we did 2 damage to him, so that we could, so that it wouldn't be a huge deal for them to get unfrozen. I think this is the best I have, in fact. But let's look at alternatives. So one really obvious play is this, right? Artillery to D4, rescuing my science mech. But, like, what is the science mech going to actually do? He doesn't really have anything productive, is the thing. And this unfreezes that Scorpion anyway. So, I don't think it's as appealing as it at first looks. I think that my weird move of leaving the gravity mech to just be damaged is fine. Have him do nothing this turn, who cares? And this helps us a lot with achieving our objective. Oh, You're right, we kill this guy. I forgot, we're dealing 1 damage to him by shooting him, 1 by throwing him, and 1 from the spawner going off. So he frees up the scorpion, but then he himself dies, which is a reasonable trade-off. This is the 2nd turn in a row that the gravity mech has done nothing, is that right? I think he didn't do anything on the 1st turn either. That's kind of funny. He's just a decoy, I guess. Oh, you want to just let me continue blocking spawns, huh? I am all about that. If only I had ally immune, huh? On my judo throw. I think it's probably not at all worth. I think it's a good idea. So here's my thinking: is I artillery E1, killing the scorpion and freeing my judo mech. We ignore the hornet because he's gonna get frozen. Then my judo mech walks to D1, blocking the spawner, and throws my science mech over to E1, blocking another spawner. That gets him to 1 health, which is bad, but he can repair his way back up to 2. We'll block both of these spawns. These 2 guys will both be at 1 health. But there will be no enemies on the screen, just this 1 spawner. I think we can deal with whatever comes out of here with just our 3 mechs, right? So I think that that's a good play. We'll start like this. Move down here. Toss him. And repair. Alright, what do you got? A hornet. What do you think? Can we handle a hornet, you guys? I think we ought to be okay. We'll just, where do I need to push him? I don't know, it doesn't really matter. Judo can get to him all the way up here. So I'll just do that. And we woke up that other hornet, but it doesn't matter. Alright, so that mission at least went well. I did predict that I'd have a terrible time on the Robot Factory one. So maybe it's not so much that I am bad with the squad as like that is just a mission that I knew would be hard, and it was hard, and I did badly. But I feel like a better player could have navigated that much more successfully. Alright, let's do Corporate HQ, try to get this island out of the way in just 2 episodes. And it's a beetle. Hopefully judoing beetles... Like, judoing beetles feels strong. I don't know if it actually is, but it feels like it ought to be good. I don't know, science mag here. But we don't have a lot of damage. Just in general with this squad. So, what's the idea here? These guys healing is not ideal. I can't get to this guy easily with my judo mech. But it seems like a strong play is pulling him into the water and then using the artillery mech to push the scion into him, killing the scion, damaging the beetle, and then like my judo mech can, I don't know, do this or something, right? reduce the Hornet threat for a turn. What else is there? So what... Here's maybe a way of asking the question better. What do you need to do to this beetle to stop him from causing damage? One, you could stop him from attacking at all by putting him in the water. That's interesting. Two, you could stand in his way. We could do that, but it's not very productive. Three, we could put something in his way, but I don't see a way to do that right now. Or four, you could throw him to an unoccupied rank, or file, I guess. Right now, I don't see a good way to do that. So I think just dumping him in the water to deal with him later is the best I'm going to come up with. Yeah, and this is the only way we can do like any damage to him, really. Okay. I look forward to getting to use these stupid pheromones to get them to attack each other. Because if I can ever do that, it's very strong. Right? It's just so hard. I was thinking right now it looks like a promising time, but I need to devote 2 mechs to it. Oh, no, I don't. Because these guys can charge through water. They don't drown when they fall in, and so they're allowed to continue their attack. Which means I could push him somehow to D3 and let him kill the Scorpion on G3. Hit him for 5 damage is plenty, right? Then it's just a question of what is the best way to get him there. Doing it with the artillery mech would involve setting off an artillery bomb on D5, which is no good because it attacks the building. You can't do it with a judo mech because he only moves 2 at a time, not 1 at a time. That leaves only the science mech, who can do it by standing here and pulling like so. Fine. So that's our tentative plan for the science mech. It's sort of hard to see a way for the judo mech to deal with the Alpha Firefly. You could stand in front of him, right? We have armor. We wouldn't die. But the only place you could judo him to would be to D2, which is possible. I could stand here instead and put him on D2. But then he would attack this building on D8. We don't want that. So, given that we're using the gravity mech to deal with the leader, and we can't use the judo mech to deal with the Alpha Firefly, we must use artillery to deal with the Firefly, which is fine. We can do that. I think the direction to push him in is... Ooh. I was about to say that I would prefer to push him towards the edge of the map so that he has fewer attack options next turn. But actually... Because he only has 2 moves, right? From here, where can he get to? Only attacking this again. But actually, maybe I want to give him some more options so that I can trick him into attacking his buddies somehow. Right? Put him on the D file, or the C file, and see if I can get him to attack some friends. Anyway, after doing that, the judo mech can get up here and prevent all damage, with a 1 remaining point of damage. So this seems good, and the main open question is just where to put the Firefly. And I think C2 is interesting as a choice. I think C2 is a better place for where to put him. However, it's more expensive for me in a way, right? Because I have to leave my artillery way over here, out of place. I guess he's fine. He can convert from using the 7th rank to using the A file. He has pretty good access to stuff from the A file. Alright, that's fine, I guess. So so let's do this. Yeah. Okay, correct. It does go over this as I thought. Alright, so far so good. That's 2 turns with Crisis averted, but we're still not dealing very much with this beetle leader at all. We need some way to hurt him. Huh. This doesn't seem very promising to me. I guess an artillery shot on C3 is strong because it blocks the spawn appearing on C1. What else could I do? Pull the Firefly into the water, and then judo the beetle leader into the water as well. He still has 4 health then. It's not impossible to deal 4 damage to him all at once, but it is hard. I guess if I could convince the Alpha Firefly to attack him, that would do it. Or, yeah, I mean, that's the main thing. Okay, well, I think that's the best plan I'm going to come up with. Well, I could do this pull, but then I'm like that deals some damage immediately, but it leaves me unable to access him any further, and we take a ton of damage. Whereas this way, he still takes 1 damage when I throw him into the water, and we didn't take a bunch of damage for no reason. I don't think we're going to complete all the objectives this mission. Just a hunch. But we'll see. Maybe they make really bad plays. Doesn't look that way. Well, they're not the greatest of plays. If I could land an artillery shot on H2, that would be very strong, but I can't. So I see a way to prevent grid damage, which is to artillery on G1, moving the beetle forward so that my judo mech can throw him into the water again, and then use the science mech to pull the Alpha Firefly onto C4. But I would love something that kills this guy. I don't think such a line exists. Well, so an interesting alternative, I don't think it's good, but let's just think about it, would be something like artillery shooting at F2. This also pushes the beetle away and frees up my judo mech to move. But I don't see any way to do anything to the beetle at that point, right? He's not in a place where I can judo him. Pulling him does no good. Doesn't seem like a winner. I think we're just going to not kill the beetle leader as best I can manage. Just do this like I planned. Toss him into the water for like that exact spot in the water for the 3rd time this mission, I think. And we kill off this Alpha Firefly while we're at it. So it's a shame we perfected the island, except we couldn't get this very last thing of perfecting corporate HQ. Yeah. We got a promotion. Understood. It's a good one. It's not grid defense. We have 7 stars. That's fine. God, this is a long episode. Smoke pellets. Yeah, not a huge fan. Light tank. These deployable tanks are strong, but we need a lot of power to make it work. So a bunch of once per battle things, in fact, is all we have available. So this just deploys a pushing tank that does no damage, which is fine. They're better for us than for any other squad in principle, because we love making guys attack each other. And I could buy still 2 reactor cores, 1 reactor core. Oh, 2, because I can sell this crappy pilot. Oh, that seems like a winner. Right, here you go, you can have him. Now I have 8 reactor cores, which is enough to buy the light tank and the 2 reactor cores to power it. Seems good. Who exactly am I going to put those power cores on? I don't know. Well, we'll buy this, and we'll buy these. I was thinking maybe put it on the science mech, who has, like, most often a turn where he can't do anything useful. But, it, you know, actually sometimes the siege mech wants to push something but not damage the nearby area, and so you could consider giving it to him as well. Either of those is possible. I don't think I want to give it to the Judo mech. Although, you know, a way for him to push would be nice. Right now he has kind of an awkward move. I mean, the previous combat, we spent a lot of turns not doing anything with Archimedes. And so I think that it's best to just give this to him so he's got something to do on those turns. And then shift over the Vec hormones to Siege Mech and give him the power to power it and the extra power to overpower it. So we have the same bonus as we did before. We just picked up a powered light tank from the shop. Okay. Well, an okay island. I'm a bit disappointed with these 2 missions, but we're soldiering along and doing okay. Hopefully we can continue to a win. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.